One of the biggest differences between the early UFC and today's UFC is the rule set. In the early days, there were very few rules. There were no weight classes, no time limits, and very few restrictions on the types of strikes that were allowed. As a result, the fights were often seen as barbaric and dangerous, and the sport was banned in many states. Today, there are many more restrictions on the types of strikes that are allowed. Here are moves and strikes that are restricted in the UFC under current rules. Headbutting. Headbutting an opponent can result in serious brain trauma and lifelong damage that cannot be repaired. If they were permitted, we would probably observe several terrible injuries within the cage because they are relatively simple to do. Fish. Hooking. The technique of fish. Hooking involves putting fingers of one or both hands into the opponent's mouth, nose, or other orifices and pushing away. This is typically done with the intention of tugging, tearing, or lacerating the tissues. 12 to 6 elbows. Elbow strikes. Starting from straight up. They can cause some serious injury to the opponent's head, so there is no doubt they should be illegal. Sean Jones, in his fourth fight, used some 12 to 6 elbows that resulted in disqualification, his only loss of his career. Groin attacks. It is a no-brainer that groin attacks should be illegal. Fighters are obligated to wear cups, but nonetheless, kicks to the groins can cause some severe pain. Holding opponent's shorts or gloves. Although there is a minimal chance of accident or injury, gripping the shorts or gloves might restrict the opponent and provide a significant advantage, so it is prohibited. Soccer kicks. A fighter will very probably lose points, or perhaps get disqualified for kneeing or kicking a downed opponent, because it can generate a lot of power and damage the brain. Small joint manipulation. It is the act of tugging, twisting, or bending an opponent's fingers, toes, wrists, or ankles in order to lock one or more of the joints in those limbs. Hair pulling. Fighting by pulling an opponent's hair is extremely painful and can be utilized to gain the upper hand. Therefore, one of the most painful illegal actions in UFC is believed to be hair pulling. Pile driving. This technique is perhaps best known to wrestling fans as the Undertaker's signature finishing technique. It is prohibited in UFC, as it can cause major damage to the spine. Eye poking. Poking an opponent, whether accidentally or on purpose, can cause serious harm. Eye pokes can occasionally result in a point deduction or even disqualification. Punches to the back of the head. Most common reasons, you might see a referee deduct a point from a fighter. The risk of paralyzing injury is the primary reasoning for the rules against these types of strikes. Holding the fence. Probably the most widely seen illegal move inside the octagon. Fighters grab the cage when they're attempting to jostle for position in the clinch, avoid a takedown, or when they're badly rocked and don't know what's going on. Many fans can find themselves unfamiliar with the rules. In fact, some people even think that there are no rules at all in the octagon. This sport combines different types of martial arts into one. As a sport, The first thing that is looked after is always the safety of fighters from chronic problems or disabilities, and fair play is also an important factor in any sport.
Nurmagomedov delivers yet again. The perfect streak continues, and Dominic, in modern-day mixed martial arts, this is just...
In martial arts, the respect you give is the respect you get. Subscribe to the American Trendsetter.